I don't know, folks. I believe it's time that we all stand up and stand our ground on this and understand, folks, that any police or military that support this action by the government, these people are guilty of crimes against humanity. They're guilty of undermining the security of their nation. They're basically guilty of treason. Any police officer that supports this type of corrupt legislation is guilty of treason. Same as any member of the military. Any of those scumbag soldiers at Pittsburgh who turned the sound cannon on the American citizens, I mean, these people are guilty of treason. They're guilty of crimes against humanity. All of these people need to be sacked, folks. They all need to be sacked. I suppose one consolation could be that we might have a sane doctor out there somewhere. Now that they've changed these laws in England, and it only takes one doctor's signature to put someone on medication against their will, then perhaps we'll find a sane doctor come out of the woodwork that is willing to sign the papers that is needed to put Gordon Brown in a psycho ward for the rest of his life. He definitely needs to be in there, and I'd say that 90% of the British Parliament should be in there with him. Then perhaps we could work on the royal family, that would be good, and get them in there as well. Though I don't suppose it's going to happen, but there's always room for wishful thinking in any equation, folks. And we've got all sorts of wonderful things happening over here in Australia as well. We've got our Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, who is a complete New World Order scumbag, an absolute puppet of the bankers. He has issued Australian police with 600 new tasers. Bear in mind, of course, that tasers have been classed as a torture device by the United Nations. We have had 334 people actually murdered by police using tasers since the police were first given these devices. So my question to the Australian Prime Minister is, Mr. Rudd, why have you issued Australian police with torture devices that have been used to murder 334 people over the world already? I mean, police using these devices against people, this is a torture device. They are using these to instill fear into people in order to coerce people into behaving. Now, if you look up the word terror in the dictionary, which is what people feel when police are threatening them with tasers, terror is defined in the dictionary as the use of extreme fear in order to coerce people, especially for political reasons. And terrorism, the definition of terrorism is the calculated use of violence or the threat of violence against civilians in order to attain goals that are political or religious. So what the police are doing, by definition, with these tasers, is they are carrying out acts of terrorism. This makes any police officer who ever threatens a member of the public with a taser a terrorist. So, Mr. Rudd, I would put it to you that you are a supporter of terrorism by issuing torture devices to the Australian police. This makes you guilty of supporting domestic terrorism against the citizens of your country. I think you need to step down from office, sir. I think you are a criminal scumbag, and we should sack you. I think you have completely sold your nation down the river, and I think that you support international banking interests and not the citizens of your country. I don't know, folks. I was going to try to make it a very positive, uplifting show today, but I tell you, after being offline for a month or so and coming back on and watching what has happened in the world in the last month while I've been away, it really gets your blood boiling a little bit. It really does. When you look at what these criminal governments and these terrorist police officers have been doing, it really does get you a little mad. It gets you a little hot under the collar, folks. I mean, I feel so sorry for these police officers. I feel so sorry for these government officials that are so willing to go to such extraordinary lengths to destroy the sovereignty of their nation, to destroy their people. I mean, this blatant depopulation plan that's going on with this swine flu, everything that these criminal politicians do, that the entire system, I'm so tired of it, folks. I really am, and I really think we need to change it. I think we have a golden opportunity that is being presented to us, and everybody can see now. It's right out in full view what these police are doing, everything they're doing. It's right out in full view. It should be obvious to even the most brain-dead person on this planet that these police do not care anything about the people. Modern police are no different to Gestapo from Nazi Germany. They even look the same when you see them wandering around the streets in their black Kevlar, setting their dogs on elderly ladies. I mean, these scumbags, we've got to do something about this, folks. We really have to do it. We've really got to stand up and make some noise, and we've got to do it very loudly, and we've got to do it very soon, because if it isn't done soon, the only option we're going to have is violent revolution. We don't want violent revolution. They have better guns. They have better weapons. They have microwave weapons. They have sonic weapons. They have all sorts of stuff that they can set loose on people. They have metal storm guns. They have all sorts of stuff, folks. We don't want to go to battle with these people. What we want to do is get the police officers and the brainwashed military personnel to actually wake up and start defending their country. Start doing the right thing. Put themselves in a state of heart. Start doing the right thing. Laws are irrelevant. It doesn't matter what the law says. If a law is unjust, then it needs to be disregarded. Any law that's unjust is no law. It's entitled to no obedience. You've got to understand, these are statutes anyway, folks. They're not even really laws. They're just statutes put in place by criminals. And President Obama is guilty of treason. He should be impeached. He should be incarcerated. He's dismembering what was left of the Constitution after Adolf Bush got hold of it. He's just dismembering what's left of it. Oh, he's bringing change, all right, folks. It's change of the absolute worst kind. So we need to make noise about this, folks. We need to stand up. We need to have mass rallies or something. We need to wake up as many people as possible and get as many people aware of the real situation humanity is facing as possible. We need to do it. We need to do it right now. This is a golden opportunity, folks. It's an opportunity for the human race to understand the connection we have to each other. It's an opportunity for unity, a unity of human spirit, a unity of human consciousness. We've got to understand it. It's a bunch of thugs in government and their brutish police forces that are basically removing all the rights of the people, and they're treating people like cattle. And it's not acceptable. And you must not be afraid to stand up against these people, because every single one of them is a terrorist that's guilty of treason. Every single one of them. Any police officer that supports this legislation, any army officer that supports this legislation, any politician that doesn't speak out against what's happening, they are all guilty of treason. They are all guilty of crimes against humanity. And we don't have to put up with it, folks. We really don't have to put up with it. There is 6.7 billion people on this planet. And there's a few thousand that are doing this to the people. We need to take this in hand. And police officers have got to stand up. Police officers have got to step up to the plate. These people have got to re-establish themselves as human beings. They have to realize that they are people. It's the uniform that gives them their perceived power. But they are also subject to the same tyranny that they are propagating against the people. And I've said many times before that as soon as the people are repressed, as soon as the FEMA camps are full, as soon as a massive amount of depopulation has occurred, who is going to be next on the list? Well, it's going to be the police officers, of course. The police officers and military who were used to round up the rest of the people, these are the most expendable people in all of society. These are the most expendable people in the entire Illuminati hierarchy, in the entire structure. They are going to be the next people that are culled. After the population is culled, they'll be culling the police force and the military. So these people need to understand whose side they need to be on. They need to understand what sort of a future they are creating for themselves. But that's just something that they don't think about, isn't it, folks? They just don't realize that they are actually at the bottom of the food chain and that they will be the next ones to go. So I think it's important that we try to wake them up to that.